I raised her kids, paid for everything, and got discarded when they didn't need me anymore. For 11 years, I played dad to kids who weren't mine. I paid for braces, college funds, family vacations. Her ex contributed nothing, but somehow I was the problem. Then her oldest turned 18, didn't need my signature anymore, and suddenly I was just mom's husband. The day I found out what they really thought of me, I was sitting in my own house, and it hit me. I'd been funding my own irrelevance this whole time. Look, I'm not the kind of guy who shares personal stuff online. I'm 42, I fix HVAC systems for a living, and I generally keep my head down. But I need to write this down somewhere because if I don't, I think I'll lose my mind trying to make sense of it all. My name's Steve. I live outside Atlanta. And I just walked away from a marriage that should have ended years ago. Let me back up. I met Denise when I was 31. She had 3 kids from her first marriage. Tyler was 7, Madison was 5, and little Brooklyn was 3. Their dad, Kyle, was barely in the picture. Saw them maybe twice a year, sent maybe $200 a month in child support when he remembered. Denise worked part-time at a dental office and was drowning. Her mom, Lauren, helped with childcare but made sure everyone knew what a burden it was. I fell hard for Denise. She was beautiful, sure, but she also seemed, I don't know, like she needed someone solid. Someone who'd actually show up. I wanted to be that guy. My own dad walked out when I was 12, so I told myself I'd never do that to a kid. Any kid. We dated for 8 months before I moved in. Probably too fast, but her lease was ending and mine was bigger. Made sense financially. That's how it started, anyway. Makes sense financially. Became the justification for a lot of things. Tyler struggled in school. ADHD, they said. Needed tutoring, needed meds, needed consistency. I stepped in. Started helping with homework every night, took him to his appointments, made sure he took his medication. Denise was grateful. Her mom was grateful. Even Kyle, the absentee father, seemed relieved someone else was handling it. I proposed after 2 years. Small ceremony at Lauren's house because Denise wanted something intimate. What she really meant was cheap. I paid for everything anyway. The cake, the photographer, even Lauren's new dress because Denise didn't want her mom to feel left out. Here's the thing nobody tells you about marrying someone with kids. You're never really a parent. You're a provider. A chauffeur. A walking ATM with a heartbeat. But you're not dad. Dad is the guy who shows up twice a year with a PlayStation and gets treated like a hero. I didn't mind at first. I loved those kids. Tyler started calling me Steve Dad, which felt like progress. Madison drew pictures of our family and hung them on the fridge. Brooklyn sat on my lap during movies and fell asleep on my shoulder. I thought I was building something real. Denise's family loved me too. Her mom, Lauren, always had some project that needed funding. A new roof, a car repair, medical bills that insurance didn't quite cover. Her brother, Greg, was constantly between jobs. Needed help with rent. Needed help with his truck. Needed a loan he'd definitely pay back next month. And I gave it. Every time. Because Denise would look at me with those eyes and say, "They're family, Steve. What am I supposed to do? Let them suffer." I worked 50-hour weeks. Picked up side jobs on weekends. We lived in a decent house, nothing fancy, but I'd bought it before we got married and kept it in my name. Just felt safer that way. Denise didn't work much after we married. Said she needed to be available for the kids. Lauren backed her up. Those babies need their mother. Tyler got older. Started high school. Needed a laptop for school. I bought it. Needed new cleats for soccer. I bought them. Wanted to go on a school trip to Washington, D.C. I paid for it while Kyle sent a card that said, "Proud of you, son," and nothing else. Madison got into dance. Expensive as hell. Recital costumes, competition fees, travel costs. I didn't complain. She loved it. Denise said it was good for her confidence. So I paid. Brooklyn needed braces. $6,000. Insurance covered maybe half. I covered the rest. I started noticing things around year 7. Small things at first. Tyler stopped saying, "Steve Dad." Just called me Steve. When I asked about it, he shrugged. Said he was too old for that now. Denise told me not to take it personally. He's a teenager. They're weird. Madison started rolling her eyes when I'd remind her about chores. Once, I heard her on the phone with a friend saying, "I have to go. My mom's husband is being annoying." My mom's husband. Not stepdad. Not even Steve. Just, my mom's husband. Brooklyn was still sweet. Still climbed into my lap sometimes. But even she started asking, "When's Dad coming to visit?" more often. Like she was keeping track. Like my presence didn't quite count the same way. Denise changed too. Subtle at first. She stopped asking about my day. Stopped initiating anything physical. When I tried to talk to her about it, she'd sigh and say she was tired. Stressed. The kids needed her. Always the kids. Her family got worse. Lauren started making comments about how I should be grateful to have Denise. Greg stopped even pretending he'd pay me back. Last time I lent him money, he bought a new gaming setup the same week. When I brought it up, Denise said I was being petty. It's not about the money, Steve, but it was always about the money. Year 9, Tyler turned 16. Started talking about college. Denise and Lauren had this whole plan. Tyler would go to Georgia Tech. Madison would do nursing school. Brooklyn would probably do something creative, maybe art school. I sat there listening to them map out these futures, and I realized they'd calculated my usefulness down to the dollar. I brought up the cost one night after dinner. Told Denise we needed to have a serious conversation about finances. College wasn't cheap. We didn't have enough saved. Maybe Tyler should consider community college first, then transfer. The look she gave me. Like I'd suggested drowning puppies. "Are you serious right now?" she said. "You want my son to go to community college?" "Our son," I said. "And yeah, I think it's smart financially. He's not your son, Steve. And if you actually cared about this family, you'd figure it out." That sentence. That one sentence. It cracked something in me. I went to our bedroom, pulled out the filing cabinet where I kept all our financial records, and started actually looking at the numbers. Over 9 years of marriage, I'd contributed $247,000 to the household. Mortgage, bills, groceries, kids' expenses, Denise's family emergencies. Everything. Denise had contributed maybe $40,000 total. And most of that went to her personal spending. Clothes, girls' trips with Lauren, beauty treatments. Kyle's total contribution over those 9 years? About $8,000 in child support. He'd missed more payments than he'd made. I'd paid for everything. Every single thing. And I wasn't even considered a real parent. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there thinking about Tyler calling me Steve instead of any version of Dad. About Madison calling me my mom's husband. About Denise telling me her son wasn't mine. Technically, she was right. Legally, I'd never adopted them. Denise had always said it wasn't necessary. "You're already their dad in every way that matters," she'd said. Except I wasn't. Not when it came to respect. Not when it came to gratitude. Not when it came to anything except money. Things got worse after that conversation. Denise barely spoke to me. Lauren called and lectured me about stepping up and being a man. Greg texted asking if I could lend him another $1,500 because his car needed work. I didn't respond to any of them. Then Tyler got accepted to Georgia Tech. Early admission. Denise was ecstatic. Lauren was ecstatic. Tyler was ecstatic. I was looking at $35,000 a year in tuition alone, and that was in-state. Denise sat me down and said we needed to talk about finances. Finally, I thought, maybe she's actually going to acknowledge the reality here. Nope. She handed me a printed spreadsheet. Lauren had helped her make it. It laid out how much I'd need to contribute for Tyler's college. Not, we'd need to contribute. I'd need to contribute. "I've already applied for some parent loans," Denise said. "But we'll need you to co-sign and cover the monthly payments. It's about $800 a month for the next 4 years. I just stared at her. "We can't afford that." "You mean you can't afford it?" "Denise, I've been covering everything. Everything. For almost 10 years now. And that's what you signed up for when you married me. I signed up to be a partner, not a bank. She stood up. Her face went cold. If you're not going to help my son, then I don't know what we're doing here. That was it. That was the moment I knew. I told her I needed time to think. She scoffed and left the room. I spent the next 3 days researching lawyers. Divorce in Georgia is messy, but we didn't have kids together, and the house was in my name. I had records of every financial contribution, every receipt, every bank transfer. I filed on a Wednesday morning. Had her served at work. The blowback was immediate and nuclear. Denise called me sobbing, screaming, asking how I could do this to her. To the kids. Lauren left me voicemails calling me every name in the book. Tyler texted me, "I hope you're happy. You just ruined my life." Madison didn't say anything. Just blocked me on everything. Brooklyn called me crying. Asked why I didn't love them anymore. That one broke me. I told her I loved her so much, but sometimes grown-ups had to make hard choices. She hung up on me. Greg showed up at my work. Caused a scene in the parking lot. Called me a deadbeat. Said I was abandoning kids who needed me. My boss had to call security. Denise fought the divorce hard. Tried to claim she deserved spousal support because she'd sacrificed her career for the family. Tried to say I owed her for all the contributions she'd made to the household. Her lawyer couldn't make any of it stick. We'd kept finances pretty separate, technically. And every major expense for the house or kids had come directly from my accounts. My lawyer had receipts for everything. The divorce finalized in 4 months. I kept the house. She got nothing except what she'd put in, which wasn't much. The absentee father suddenly stepped up to help her move into a smaller apartment. Funny how he found time when it mattered to him. I thought I'd feel relief. Instead, I felt like I'd been gutted. I'd spent 11 years loving those kids. Raising them. Showing up every single day. And in the end, I was just mom's husband. The guy who paid for things. Tyler went to community college after all. Denise couldn't afford Georgia Tech without me. I heard through a mutual friend that he blamed me for ruining his future. Not Kyle. Not his mom for not saving anything. Me. Madison graduated high school last year. Didn't invite me. I saw pictures on Lauren's Facebook. Kyle was there. Big smile. Arm around Madison. Playing proud dad. Brooklyn's 14 now. I think about her sometimes. Wonder if she remembers the nights I tucked her in, read her stories, checked for monsters under the bed. Probably not. Kids don't remember the boring stuff. They remember the fun dad who shows up with presents twice a year. I've been single for almost 2 years now. Went on a few dates but nothing serious. I'm working through a lot in therapy. Trying to figure out how I let myself become so invisible in my own life. My therapist asked me once, "Did you think providing for them would make them love you?" Honest answer? Yeah. I did. I thought if I was good enough, reliable enough, generous enough, they'd see me as real family. Not just some guy their mom married. But here's what I learned. You can't buy your way into belonging. You can't earn love through sacrifice. Some people will take everything you offer and still see you as an outsider. Denise texted me last month. First time in over a year. Said she was struggling financially. Asked if I could help with Madison's nursing school application fees. I blocked her number. I'm not bitter. Not anymore. I'm just done. I did everything I could for those kids. I showed up. I provided. I loved them. And none of it mattered because I was never really part of the family. I was just the guy who made things easier. Lauren posted something on Facebook last week. Some quote about real men, and stepping up, and family comes first. I saw it because a mutual friend sent it to me, asking if I was okay. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes the people who preach the loudest about family are the ones who understand it the least. Family isn't about obligation or guilt or who pays for what. It's about mutual respect, actual care, seeing each other as human beings, not just resources. I gave 11 years of my life to people who never saw me as anything more than a wallet with a pulse. And yeah, it hurts. It'll probably always hurt a little. But I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not the one bending over backward trying to prove I'm worthy of basic decency. I'm not funding other people's lives while they treat me like I'm disposable. I'm just Steve. I fix HVAC systems. I live in a quiet house that's actually mine. I'm learning to take care of myself for the first time in over a decade. And you know what? That's enough. If you're reading this and you see yourself in my story, here's what I wish someone had told me years ago. You can't love people into respecting you. You can't sacrifice yourself into mattering. And if the only value you bring to someone's life is financial, you're not in a relationship. You're being used. Walk away. It'll hurt like hell. But staying hurts worse.